So we are talking about the power of choice. And choice and healing go together, and they are only valid now. You can only choose change now. And the only choice you actually have is change. You don't have a whole array of choices. You have one choice. And maybe it's just change back. You've already chosen humanness. So I don't know if it's a choice if you've only got one. So the time will come to choose to return. And the only power you've got with that choice is to choose to return when you're ready, when you have had enough. Now, I have the sense of, I can hear people screaming, I didn't choose to be raped. I didn't choose for my son to die, my daughter to die. I didn't choose for all that stuff to happen. On this human journey, nobody goes unscathed. Nobody gets out alive, and nobody goes through it without life. Touching their buttons, without life showing them their worst. So how else? Because we do not do this willingly. And I'm speaking from experience. I've had my own shit went on in my life. So I'm speaking from experience as well. That we wouldn't willingly go into the depths. This isn't like a sweat lodge or walking on coals for whatever reason people do that. But this isn't like just a human cleansing. This is a deep soul cleansing. That we would not go into the depths of despair willingly. The ego will not let us do that, because the ego thrives on it. The ego lives in that darkness. The ego lives in that hatred. The ego wants. The ego is the epitome of greed and separation and conflict. And so the ego wants us to stay in all that negative stuff. So spiritually, on a spiritual level, and this is a hard pill for people to swallow, but the victim and the perpetrator are karmically tied together as a spiritual beings. There's a karmic tie that they have agreed to somehow. I will agree to come here and incarnate to show you the depth of sadness that you are capable of creating. We forget this at birth. This is called destiny. So we go along the road. Each individual case is an individual portrait. It's an individual video, or whatever you want to call it. It's these are all geared towards the individual play, and people come and play a part in your play, and then they leave, and they leave you with memories, and they leave you. Then memories then is what you carry with you, what I carry with me through life, and they get triggered. And so the sadness that we had as a 12-year-old is the same sadness we have as a 70-year-old. However, we're at adding to it as we go along. Every time we take an energy out, we feed it or we diminish it. We either take a bite out of it to make it smaller, or we add to it. It just doesn't remain the same. So we agree to do these horrible things in this horrible place. It's hell. This earth realm is a hell. No matter how glittery it is, no matter how much bling you can get, it's like a prisoner can do up his cell and make it all mod cons. He's still in prison. You can pretty up your nice corner of hell and call it heaven, but it'll never be heaven. It'll always be just a nice corner of hell. And so the separation that we've created from oneness and love and light and peace is hell. That's on religious books and the whole lot. I'm not going to go into that. So in order for us to get out of hell, we have to realize we're in it in the first place. And so these horrible things happen to us until we get to a stage where we recognize that happened in the past. I'm still sitting here now and I'm feeling angry or sad or hateful about what I can't fix. And until we take ownership, I'm going over what I said earlier on, but this is the way. Until we take ownership that it's me creating this feeling here and now. My abuser isn't here and I can still feel the effects of that if I choose to. So my power of creation and my power of the choice to change is geared on which memory I grasp. Which memory I grasp. Do I grasp a memory of me being a spiritual being of love and light and peace and joy? Or me being a human being of all that other stuff, and more importantly, wanting revenge and punishment and sin and guilt and shame. If I insist on holding on to this, whatever it is, until, and this is visible as well. I'll leave it at that. This is visible in the world as well. People hold on to the past and demand justice and demand. Again, I'm talking spiritual. I'm not talking making this a better world, because this world will never be a better world. It's not meant to be a better world. This is hell. It's not meant to be heaven. We pass through it to get out of it. So trying to make hell into heaven isn't what I'm about. And if that's what people are about, well, off you go. You do it your way, I do it my way. However, people cling to issues and things that happen, and they want justice and they want revenge and they want punishment. And they're only punishing themselves by staying in that energy, by staying bitter, by staying angry, by staying sad. The punishment that they demand for someone else is being imposed on themselves by themselves. Believe me, I've done this for many of years myself. I know what I'm talking about here. And until you can recognize this happened for a reason, that's a difficult pill to swallow. But if you can rise above it all, because it's happening to us all for a reason. There's no one different. The shit that happens in life is happening to us for a reason. For us to rise above it, on an individual basis, not for the whole world to change, but for me to end my suffering. And how do I do that? I have to know that I'm creating it. I have to blame me for the good and the bad. So when I start to practice connecting to this love and light and peace and saying, I'm parking that other stuff for a few minutes. This doesn't go away because you've suddenly learned to do this. You can park it for a few seconds, a few minutes, a few moments. And then you connect into the other side that's available to us. The peace, the love, the joy, the willingness to forgive. And that's the key. That's the key that we have. That it crosses that divide. It's like a doorway. It's like a swing door between our human self and our spirit self. The spark of energy. The spark it's I'm just getting this vision. It's like a phone with 2 SIM cards. Which SIM card is active? You can, where your spark of life is it on this side? Are you creating darkness? Are you creating light in your being? The door between them is forgiveness. You forgive yourself for being on that side. It's yourself that you forgive because you're punishing yourself. Your anger is only hurting you. I said before, earlier on, your anger doesn't leave you. Your hatred doesn't leave you. Your insistence on punishment and justice won't go back and get the soldier or the rapist or even your parents or whoever done whatever they done to you in the past. Your insistence and anger and that won't leave you. It only damages and hurts you. You can still go into this love and light and watch the process of the world. Things may change then. But if you're insisting, I'm not going to have peace until this happens, well, so be it. That is your choice. That's the power. That's how powerful you are. That is how powerful you are. I'm insisting I don't want peace until I see the past changed. That's what some of us are actually demanding. I want the things that happened in the past to change. And I want justice now. And the only justice that you will find within yourself is when you go through this door of forgiveness into your own peace. Let the world go. And if you have a demand until this is done, I'm not going there, well, so be it. That is your free will. There isn't, I told you that there's angels bringing you to these dark places. Well, the angels will facilitate you in staying where you are because that's your free will. I don't want peace until now. I do one-to-ones, and I have had many a person come and sit in front of me. And when I tell them this, they kind of go into a bit of a shock that I want to take their sadness away from them, or I want to take their anger away from them, or I want to take their hatred away from them. And I don't. I've enough difficulty working with my own shit without taking anybody else's. But the point I'm making there is I have seen it. I've witnessed how protective we are, how protective I was of this shit that we produce. It's, at the end of the day, it's mine. It's the only thing that's mine. I'll continue this talk in the next video. So now you know, you can't say no one told you.